There were no final debates. No attempts to persuade the world. Only the quiet understanding that some chapters end without permission. In the quiet morning light, Mike sealed a cardboard box. Inside were books he had spent years with, each page annotated, each spine worn. He paused, his hand hovering over the tape. He reached back in, pulled one out, and tucked it into his backpack instead. A small personal anchor. Miles away, in a sleek, modern office, Lin Fang closed her laptop. An unsigned cooperation contract lay on the desk, its bold print a stark contrast to the silence. She straightened it once, a final, tidy gesture, then turned off the light, leaving the room and a potential future in the dark. They did not explain where they were going. Only that they were leaving not in protest, but in relief. At the airport, everything was orderly, subdued. Mike stood in the security line, displaying none of the usual traveler's urgency. The departures board flickered with destinations, but his wasn't clearly displayed. He was just a man in a queue, moving forward. At another gate, Lin Fang waited. She scrolled through her phone, but her eyes weren't focused on the screen. It was an automatic gesture, a way to hold something, to occupy her hands while her mind was elsewhere. Their departures were separate, uncoordinated, yet guided by the same silent decision. They weren't running from anything, but walking towards a quiet space they both desperately needed. They chose Tokyo, a sprawling global city, yet somehow uninterested in anyone's history. It's a place where presence doesn't require performance. The city unfolded in a wide-shot, trains arriving with whisper-quiet precision, crowds moving like a synchronized river, neon lights of Shinjuku and Shibuya fading into the soft glow of quiet residential streets. They found a neighborhood far from the city center, a place of low buildings and narrow sidewalks. Vending machines cast a gentle, solitary light on the pavement, humming softly in the night. This was not a city that demanded to be conquered or even understood. It was a city that simply existed, offering anonymity as a form of peace. They had crossed borders before, always with a purpose, a goal, a mission. This time, they arrived without ambition. Mike exited a train station, adjusting the familiar weight of his backpack on his shoulder. He looked around, taking in the unfamiliar yet calming scenery. Just then, Lin Fang stepped onto the same street from another direction. Their eyes met across the quiet intersection. There was no rush, no dramatic reunion, no hesitation. A silent acknowledgement passed between them. They started walking together, their steps falling into a natural, unforced rhythm, two separate journeys converging on a single path. Their arrival wasn't a destination. It was a release. In Japan, food was not designed to impress. It was designed to be fresh, to respect the body, to leave no weight behind. They found a small, traditional restaurant tucked away on a side street. Inside, a simple wooden counter gleamed under soft lighting. The decoration was minimal, creating a space of focus and tranquility. A chef, his movements slow and deliberate, prepared food with an almost meditative grace. He handled fresh fish and seasonal vegetables with reverence, arranging them on simple plates. The art was not in the complexity, but in the purity of the ingredients. It was a meal that promised nothing more than what it was: clean, honest nourishment. After years of adaptation, of eating foods that were a compromise, they found a place where even a simple meal asked less of them. Mike and Lin Fang sat side by side at the counter. They ate quietly, the only sounds being the gentle clink of chopsticks and the soft hum of the restaurant. There were no phones on the counter. No need to fill the silence with conversation. Steam rose gently from the warm dishes, carrying with it the subtle aroma of dashi and rice. Here, there was nothing to endure, nothing to recover from. It was just food, just nourishment. A fundamental act of self-care stripped of all pretense and expectation. The body remembers before the mind does. It remembers the feeling of safety, the release from a constant state of alert. Later that evening, they walked slowly through a quiet Tokyo street. The air was cool and clean. Without thinking, Mike stretched his shoulders, a movement that unknotted a tension he hadn't realized he was holding. Beside him, Lin Fang took a deep, full breath, her lungs expanding in a way they hadn't for a long time. Their bodies were finding a new rhythm, one that did not demand speed or require explanation. It was a slow, unwinding process, a physical letting go that preceded any conscious understanding. The city's quiet pulse was becoming their own. For the first time in years, the world opened without restriction. No detours. No permissions. Back in their modest apartment, Lin Fang sat by the window, the city lights a distant, gentle blur. She opened her laptop. The Wi-Fi connected instantly. She navigated to YouTube and the page loaded without a single stutter. Her own channel appeared on the screen. A simple, undecorated page that had been dormant for so long. All her past work was there, a digital archive of a life she had lived elsewhere. Access was restored. The digital walls had come down, not with a crash, but with a quiet, simple click. The path was clear again. She did not become a creator to be seen. She recorded life because it could finally be shared. Lin Fang set up a small camera in their kitchen. The space was compact but filled with natural light. On the table, she laid out fresh ingredients she'd bought from a local market. She began to prepare a meal, her movements careful and unhurried. There was no background music, no voiceover explaining her every move. The only sounds were the crisp chop of a knife on a wooden board and the gentle sizzle of vegetables in a pan. This wasn't a performance for an audience. It was an act of documentation, a quiet celebration of a simple, tangible reality. They did not rebuild their lives. They reduced them to what could be held without effort. While Lin Fang filmed in the kitchen, Mike sat at the dining table just behind her, absorbed in his book. He was in the frame, but he wasn't part of the show. He didn't look at the camera or acknowledge its presence. He was simply there, a quiet companion in her space. Their new life wasn't about constructing something grand or impressive. It was about stripping away the non-essential, about finding comfort in a shared, simple existence. It was about discovering how little they actually needed to feel whole. She didn't build an audience. She reopened a window. After finishing her preparation, Lin Fang sat down at her laptop. She edited the footage simply, letting the natural sounds and visuals speak for themselves. Then, with a final click, she hit upload. The progress bar moved steadily across the screen. There were no frantic checks for view counts, no anxiety over comments or likes. The act of sharing was the purpose itself. It wasn't about broadcasting her life to the world, but about opening a small window. Letting a sliver of light from her quiet corner shine out, for anyone who might happen to pass by. Night fell over Tokyo. The city began to glow, a vast constellation of light, with the frantic energy of the business districts visible in the distance and the peaceful calm of the neighborhoods close by. Inside their apartment, the lights were warm. They sat in the same room, but in their own spaces, each under a separate lamp. Mike was reading, Lin Fang was looking out the open window. They were apart, yet together, sharing the quiet air. They did not solve the world. They stepped aside from it. Not to find a place to belong, but simply, finally, a place to breathe. And that's a wrap for today's video. Thank you so much for tuning in and spending some of your valuable time with me. I really hope you found this helpful or at least a little bit entertaining. If you enjoyed what you saw, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. It really helps the channel out more than you know. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you won't miss out on any of our future content. I love hearing from you guys, so please drop a comment down below and let me know what you thought, or what you'd like to see next. Your feedback is everything. Thanks again for your incredible support. Stay awesome, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.